Hi, this is Kelly Quinn with another helpful video on how to use a gas-powered
Power
power
washer.
washer. All right, and this one I just pulled out, and as you can see over here in the front,
It's dirty.
yeah,
Dusty.
anytime your tool has cobwebs that look older than your Nana, we probably should start first by using air compressor or air hose to clean it up. A little less risk. Anything that you're going to use that has gas gets hot, and those things can cause fire hazards. It's better to have a clean gas-powered tool to begin with. So let's do that first, and then we'll continue. All right, so it's a little cleaner now. It's probably safer to get started. But first, let's start with what I do every time I turn it off. Every time I turn this thing off, first I shut off the gas right here. So this has to be turned back on. And when I turn it off, I don't turn off the switch. I turn off the fuel and let it run until it stops, and that empties the bowl. The fuel, I never use fuel in here that does not have fuel stabilizer, and you shouldn't use fuel in anything that can sit for a while. So generators, lawn mowers can sit over the winter, snow blowers sit over the summer. Any of those kinds of things that have periods of time where they don't get used, make sure your fuel has fuel stabilizer in it. And this one does. I still have to check. I probably have to add some more fuel to it. But the other thing I want to note is that it's also got a cord. And the cord is plugged in, so this has a battery to start it. And it's been plugged in all winter. And because there's no fuel in the fuel bowl, I know it's going to have to turn the engine a few times more than normal to get it to start, to get the fuel into the engine. So we're going to keep it plugged in until it starts, and then I'll unplug it. Okay, so now I'm going to make sure there's fuel in the tank, and then we'll get it started. All right, back again in a few minutes. All right, so we added fuel to the tank, but there's one more step we need to do before we start it. And since this is a power washer, it gets its water from somewhere. It doesn't have it itself, so we have to hook it up to the hose. And this connection is back here. And since we never want this to run without water actually in the impeller area, we need to turn on the water first, not this first. Okay, so the water is on, but it's not in the impeller unless it's running through the hose. So first we have to do this, and I will let it run until I'm good and sure that there's no air bubbles anywhere and that it's full. And another thing that makes it a lot easier for this motor to start is to have this running just like this when you do start it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the choke. Put this over here, this little ring. Pull back. So this is choke on. And now this, you tip it and then push it forward. Dead battery. No. So we're going to try pull starting. All right.
Great.
Can you hold this while I do that? Wait you got